Welcome back to Divorce Den, everyone, where our channel is dedicated to helping you get information about better ways to get divorced and to destigmatize the entire divorce process. Over 50% of marriages end in divorce, so the fact that we still put labels on people and we still stigmatize the actual process of divorce or people who have been through divorce is really shameful, and we should start thinking about it as another life transition. That's really our focus here on this channel. Always want to remind you that while I am an attorney and we are going to be having discussions about some of the legal processes of divorce, I'm not giving legal advice. I am not your attorney, and what I am certainly doing here is just trying to have a discussion. We're not creating any type of attorney-client relationship. We're just having an open dialogue about divorce and ways that maybe you can think about for yourself, for a neighbor, for a friend, maybe viewing divorce a little differently. And getting into that discussion, what we want to talk about today is the upcoming Oscar Awards, and it is the most anticipated awards show of the season. Huge players that are in the running for getting awards, whether it is from Best Picture to Best Actor to Best Actress and everything in between. We look to the Oscars every year for this really show-stopping, glamorous performance. While I completely understand us being sucked into this really fantastical looking life on TV, we have to remember that that's exactly what it is. It's this facade that is put onto the screen, whether it's a reality TV show, whether it's a commercial, whether it's the big screen, like we're talking about with the upcoming Oscars. But knowing and understanding that you know what celebrities are, whether they are home in their kitchen or they are on the red carpet, they are human beings, just like you and I. They have emotions, they have feelings, and they have relationships that sometimes don't work, just like you and I. So I want us to remember that idolizing celebrities, thinking that they have this perfect life and that they have all of the answers and that money can buy them happiness is certainly not the case. And to stress our underlying message here always about destigmatizing divorce, divorce doesn't have to define you. It doesn't mean that because you've been divorced, you're a failure. It doesn't mean that because you've been divorced that you're never going to be able to be successful again in a relationship or in your career. What it means is that relationship didn't work out and now you're moving forward on a different path, in a different direction. So to that end, we're going to talk today about people who have been nominated and who have won Oscars, who, guess what? They've been divorced. And there are a million other people that we could have chosen. We just grabbed a handful. So if there's somebody that you would like to discuss or have us maybe do a deeper dive into their marriage and divorce, certainly let us know that. With the understanding that our purpose here is about teaching you and educating about the processes of divorce, maybe how you can try to keep your divorce more private and confidential as opposed to having it out there for the world to see. This is never about us diving into somebody's personal relationships for the sake of it, for the sake of gossip, for the sake of us being nosy. We're not a gossip channel. That's not what we're looking to do here. So let's start with somebody that I think everybody knows, Renee Zellweger. She is an acclaimed actress. She has won 2 Academy Awards. And guess what? She was divorced. She and Kenny Chesney were married for a hot minute. And I think that they got married after they were only together for a very short while. But they realized very quickly that the relationship was not going to work. The marriage was not going to work. So they decided to get their marriage annulled. After that, did either one of their careers end? No. Kenny Chesney is still making music. He is still successful in the country music industry. Renee Zellweger has actually won an Oscar, has won 2 Oscars, and one of them was after her divorce. Really important of note about their relationship and the divorce itself is that there really is very little information out there about why they divorced. And you know why? Because the both of them chose to keep that private. Because when you get down to it at the end of the day, just as I've discussed many times, and I will always discuss and stress and emphasize, your relationship, including your divorce, is your business. Do we want everybody to know, including our neighbors, including our family, about the things that we're going through? No. Celebrities are no different. They are human beings who want their own privacy. So the fact that these two were able to maintain a sense of privacy surrounding their divorce and the nitty-gritty about the details of the divorce, what the reasons were behind it, That's really telling about them having at least enough respect for each other and enough respect for themselves not to start airing their dirty laundry. Another actress that we're going to highlight is Julianne Moore. She was married to John Gould Rubin for over 9 years. And while the both of them were in the profession of acting, that relationship just didn't work. It ended in divorce. Did that mean that was the end of their careers? Certainly not. And when you think about Julianne Moore winning an Oscar well after her divorce, that just shows that you can reinvent yourself, you can recreate yourself, you can throw yourself into your work and be your best self long after divorce. And just like we talked about with Renee Zellweger's divorce, there's very little that we actually know about the details of why the two of them got divorced, as it should be. We don't need to know the details. What we do know is that the relationship didn't work and they chose to move forward with getting a divorce. And guess what? She found love again. She got remarried in 2003, and as of the time of this recording, they're still married, so we can assume that it's still a success. We're assuming that because, again, we don't know the details of their relationship. None of our business. Natalie Portman is another actress who has been nominated several times and won an Academy Award for Black Swan in 2011. Black Swan, I believe, is where she met her husband on the set there. And while the two of them were in the same industry and understand maybe the same pressures, their relationship did not last, right? They were not able to maintain it, and they decided, let's be adults about this. Let's choose to move separate ways and let's get divorced. The thing that makes me the most happy is that the reports are that the two of them chose to resolve everything amicably, file with the court, and never have to go to court. Again, an underlying theme here all the time. You don't have to go to court to get divorced. Another actress on our list is Halle Berry. She is an acclaimed actress who has been married several times, and guess what? Divorced several times. So I'm talking about people having a relationship and then splitting up, whether it's an annulment, whether it's a separation, whether it's a divorce, to one person. But you know what? There is no shame in getting divorced more than once. There's no shame in getting divorced as many times as you need to ensure that your happiness and your future are secure. Halle Berry was married to a major league player, David Justice, for about 4 years in the 90s. And while they've never discussed exactly the details of their divorce, there were hints about emotional abuse and maybe control. But again, those details have never been revealed, and they're really not our business. If there is ever any type of abuse or emotional control, I always encourage my clients and anyone who's undergone that to seek therapy during the divorce, after the divorce, and make sure that they're taking care of themselves. Halle Berry was also married to Eric Benet for about 4 years as well. And while, again, there were rumors about the reasons that their marriage failed, some of them being infidelity, the reality is that the intimate details of that are not known. I do believe that Halle Berry discussed how painful this relationship was and how painful the breakup was. And that's real. Being candid and being open about the pain and trauma maybe that you've gone through because of a relationship, you can do that with grace and without giving all of the details, and really just saying that my happiness now and in the future is really the most important thing for me. Halle Berry and Oliver Martinez also divorced after only a few years of marriage, and the details of that divorce is also not known. What we do know is that the two of them have decided to co-parent their son and move forward in a way that is respectful to their relationship and to their child. So an important theme throughout here is maintaining privacy for yourself and always doing that for your children. Halle Berry and Oliver Martinez being able to co-parent and put their child first, understanding that the more dirt that's out there, the more gossip that they can fuel is really just going to hurt their child. A big one that a lot of people have talked about is Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda's marriages that ended in divorce, and her independent spirit, her ability to recreate herself after each divorce and move on in a way that has made her more and more successful. She won 2 Oscars in the 70s, and she has been nominated 7 times. Fonda's been married 3 times, and she's been very open about discussing the relationships and discussing how meaningful each relationship was to her and what the breakup looked like for each one. She was married to a French director in the 1960s, and their relationship lasted about 8 years, and then the two of them decided to get divorced. After that divorce, Jane Fonda has come out and said that while that marriage was never meant to last, it really was a formative experience for her. And after that, she started to dive into more self-reflection and starting to see what it is that she wanted out of life, what it is she wanted out of her career, or maybe even what she wanted out of a relationship in the future. In 1973, Jane Fonda married Tom Hayden, who was a politician, and that marriage lasted 17 years. During this period, Jane Fonda found her voice a little bit more when it came to political activism and really advocating for things that she thought were right. And she has said in interviews that while the two of them built a relationship on mutual admiration and respect for each other and some common goals and platforms, that the two of them ultimately grew apart and that it was time for them to move on. And then there was the more high profile marriage to Ted Turner, which lasted about 10 years and ended in 2001. With both of them having such high profile careers, it's understandable that they were being pulled in different directions, and spending less time together may have been a contributing factor to the two of them deciding to get divorced. The last Academy Award winner that we're going to talk about today is Sandra Bullock. She was married to Jesse James, and that again was a very high profile marriage. And people were just clamoring for more information about their relationship, about the adoption of their son, and really just wanting to know all of the details of their marriage. Sandra Bullock chose to focus on privacy for herself and for her son. And even though her ex-husband did apologize for the infidelity later on, she refused to go down that road and start talking about the details. She continued to grow personally, and she never went and brought up the past as far as her relationship with Jesse James. So this just goes to show that you can keep things private even under such scrutiny, even in such a public arena. So if these celebrities can do it, you can do it too. So I hope you enjoyed this journey with us, looking at these different celebrities who are Oscar winners and acclaimed actresses in their own rights, and looking at how they can be successful, how they have been successful, and how they will continue to be successful despite having been divorced. Just know that you want to make sure that you keep everything private, and you can thrive after divorce. Absolutely. Sometimes people have reported that they're living their best lives after their divorce. It does not mean the end. It does not mean failure. What it means is that that relationship didn't work. You're choosing another path, and that can be the best path for you. So let's think about ways that we can support each other, and we can start talking and having open discussions about taking the stigma out of divorce. And let's use these actresses here as examples as to ways that we can do that. Thank you so much for joining us here on Divorce Den, and we look forward to seeing you next time, where we are going to continue to talk about ways that you can move forward in divorce without going to court and taking the stigma out of the label of divorce. Talk soon.